If you guys remember about 2 months ago when I did my unicorn review, I mentioned that there was a backstory to how I actually acquired the unicorn. This story is pretty extensive, but I'm gonna go ahead and condense it for you. Basically, it involves the Unicorn Pro, out of darts, and the company XYL directly. Let's get into it. Guys, so back in February, the company XYL sent me a message on Instagram directly asking me about my thoughts and interest on a potential new product that they were going to be rolling out. Now, you guys know me, I'm always all about new tech, new and exciting products, especially if they're hobby oriented. When they sent me the schematics of the build of the original unicorn and all the spec sheets of it, I was completely amazed. This looked like something that was obviously engineered and built to a spec that was clearly catering to the hardcore hobby community. Eventually, we came to know that there was voices in the community that were involved that led to the final production of this blaster. We kind of got mixed in translation. They asked me some questions about if I had a storefront, if I would be willing to distribute and sell their product. Obviously, I don't do that. I do have an eBay storefront, but I use that for my professional business, and I don't like mixing my hobby and my business. So I told them honestly, I do not have that, but I do have friends such as Zen Duo that would be more than willing to carry this product and also sell it for you. However, if you do want a review of the product, I'd totally be willing to do that since that's what I do. And they were like, okay, we're gonna grab a couple samples. We're gonna send them to you as soon as we can. The months started rolling by and I never saw the unicorn show up. Came to find out later that after they already had sent the predetermined samples to Out of Darts, I think Valtech Armory and I think Maritime were a couple of the few people that had it first. They actually were going through a crisis with one of their materials and therefore they weren't even able to manufacture some extra samples to send me. Eventually the months went by. They contacted me in June telling me, not enough, we're really sorry about this.
We're sorry. We're sorry. We're sorry. Sorry.
What we're gonna have to do is we're just gonna have to send you one from the pre-committed inventory that we sent Out of Darts, and that's how you're gonna be able to get your sample. I said, okay, it's a little late, but it doesn't really matter. This is not a race. As long as people get to see my opinion on it, I guess that's what really matters. About a week after that, I got in contact with Zen Duo. They told me they had the unicorn in stock, and they went ahead and sent me a sample, which is the one that I actually reviewed a couple months ago. However, XYL, in an effort to honor their original commitment to send me a sample, sure enough, went ahead and drop shipped me a unicorn from Out of Darts. You guys know me, I don't let any opportunity go wasted. I wanted to take full advantage of this opportunity to compare side by side the two configurations that the unicorn is globally distributed as, which is the open slot plunger and the Europe and US distribution style, which is closed plunger. In addition to that, Zen Duo had also sent me their Pro Kit, which involves a brass plunger, an upgraded spring, and some extra lubrication, of course, to make all these parts work freely. In essence, we're gonna do 3 comparisons. We already know the performance that the slotted Asian distribution unicorn has because this is the only one I got and this is the one that I reviewed. We're gonna compare this thing with the US distribution solid plunger, and then we're gonna put the Pro Kit on this just to see how much even higher of a performance we can get. Let's get into it. All right, guys, not sure if you remember, but the original version of the unicorn that I received from Zen Duo was in a consolidated box with a very minimized packaging. I never got to see any of this. I never got to see the original box. This is absolutely premium, high quality box materials and texture. I really like the vertical lettering here for unicorn. XYL embossed and glossed right over here. XYL Unicorn brand right here in this beautiful embossed gold depictions of a very quality product. And then, of course, I am familiar with this kind of product because this is what I received from Zen Duo with their packaging. As you can see, we do not have a slotted plunger. It is a solid plunger. I do like this gunmetal color. So if anything, we might not even have to change this for brass. We might just have to change the spring to make this pro. But of course, we're gonna build it in this configuration off camera. You guys already saw that on the first review. We're gonna equip this with its US spec just the way it comes. We're gonna do some firing sessions, check out that FPS compared to our Asian counterpart. And then we're gonna put that beefy spring and see how much higher than whatever this is gonna be, we can get this blaster. Let's get it, guys. Talk about opening a hornet's nest. Guys, once you do the math, there's 63 different power combinations you could run on this blaster. No wonder they freaking call it the Unicorn. I wonder if the engineers even knew about this. 3 different plunger tubes. You got the standard aluminum solid, you got the brass solid, which weighs considerably more. I didn't find much of a difference of these two, or I guess I just don't have substantial or conclusive data after firing at least 200 rounds on each one. They're both hitting right around the 169, 171 kind of range with the black raisin bamboos. And then you have slotted plunger. And then with either of these 3 different plunger combinations, I discovered we have 3 different spring combinations. To my knowledge, there was just 2 different kind of springs, standard and then the upgrade. But apparently our US blaster, funny enough, came with the weaker spring and the solid plunger. Our Asian blaster came with the stronger spring and the slotted plunger. So that made the performance of both the US and the Asian blaster surprisingly the same. I was getting between 129 to 140 max FPS with the black raisin darts. Once I did switch the stiffer spring over to the solid plunger and the weaker spring over to the slotted plunger, then the difference became apparent. We had about a 125 cap on the machine running slotted plunger and the weakest spring, and then we were hitting solid 140s on the machine with the solid plunger and the stiffer stock spring. Of course, the Pro spring, along with either the brass or the aluminum plunger, was yielding us some solid 170 FPS. Ultimately, I ended up going with the strongest configuration for both blasters. On my original Zen Duo blaster, I went with the Asian spec spring with the upgraded Pro brass plunger tube. Now remember, the brass plunger tube is considerably more heavier than the aluminum plunger tube. I mean, enough to make a difference in the weight of the blaster overall. I could argue that it probably weighs at least 2 to 4 ounces more than the aluminum plunger tube. So I went ahead and outfitted my Zen Duo provided Unicorn with that configuration. This one's good for about 140, good for games where the cap is 150. I've outfitted this one with an orange barrel protector just to let me know that this is the lower FPS blaster. And then on my XYL / out of darts provided Unicorn, I went ahead and left the aluminum alloy plunger tube on this one, and I put the Pro spring in this one, of course, with the aluminum barrel protector here, just to immediately let me know that this is my 170 FPS blaster. Honestly, if I wouldn't have done these tests or had both of these blasters in order to compare them, I would have never have found this out. All the videos that I've seen so far on the internet have compared stock to Pro, but which stock? We don't know what configuration those reviewers had. Here we actually have all the possible configurations that we can ever see on the Unicorn. So this is actually some good data for those guys out there that are actually testing these on the field. Find out which spring do you have. You can tell which one's the weaker one because it has a lot more coils and a tighter pitch. The one that was originally provided with my Zen Duo one has a lot less coils, a lower pitch between the coils, and of course the slotted plunger tube, which I would honestly probably only use it along with the weakest spring if I ever went to an HVZ that allowed up to 125, because the blaster still shoots 125 FPS with the black raisin darts, which are standard weight. Now, if I was shooting bamboos, even the weakest configuration shoots in the 150s, 160s. Strongest configuration bamboos probably hits over 200. Yikes. This thing is absolutely disgusting. For its size, I just can't compare it to anything else out there. No matter what new product is coming out, the Unicorn still lives on as one of the best blasters for its size. I hope you guys found this video informative and useful. If you're not subscribed yet, don't forget we're having a 4,000 subscriber giveaway. Not sure what I'm gonna give away yet, but I don't know. Might be something in the frame here. You never know. Share this video, like this video, tell your friends and family about the channel. If you're trying to get them into the hobby, let them know. We would be glad to have them. If you enjoyed this video, you're definitely gonna enjoy this one. I'll catch you on the next one. Stay blasting, foam fam.